Welcome to Beyond Time Signatures.
Thank you.
So today with us we have Mr. Rohan Stevenson, who currently holds the world record in Instagram ping pong with 53 score.
I'm at 60 now. I've got to 60.
Holy, you just you're just going to reach a sky at some point.
World record, baby.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. So like without wasting any more time, I'd just like to get straight to it and
Go.
ask, um, how did you start getting into guitar music?
Probably in high school, really. Just into punk music, really. That's what I got started on. Punk and rock, and slowly into metal. And I think some of the metal stuff I was listening to started to get a bit more technical on guitar. And it just evolves and evolves over time.
And what were the bands you were listening to when you started out?
Green Day, Blink 182, like Foo Fighters, Nirvana, those kinds of bands. Korn, Slipknot, Limp Bizkit, Incubus. Tons of Australian bands. There's big Australian scene here as well. Many.
Were you like a big Carnival fan?
Oh yeah, Carnival definitely. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Nice, nice. I'm still a very big fan of Carnival. I think um, the record where the Goliath bass stone. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's something monumental, and people even look up to it right now. So yeah, I think because of the bands you listened to in the start, you had a very great foundation of how to write songs as in structures, compared to somebody from my age who just like got into listening to prog straight away. And so the structures and how to write and how to form things is something still I personally am developing, and that's I think I can almost say that it reflects in your music as well. When I hear it, that it's very well thought out. Everything is taken care of, note for note, and nothing is just fuck around and find out. Everything is actually made to be
Yeah,
sound the way you were supposed to in your head.
for sure. Yeah, absolutely. It's all very, very carefully thought out and, crafted.
Yeah. I have a question for you that since you have written so many songs and over the years, was there like a click point that once you have written enough songs, you were like, okay, I think I've got the hack and I can just, convert ideas left and right and turn it into full sauce?
Maybe to a degree, but I'm not satisfied with that mentality. So there's certain things like in transitions that I've sort of developed an understanding of what generally works with transitions in from section to section and stuff like that. Or things to at least try to see what would work bridging two sections together and stuff. So you sort of get familiar with those sort of ideas. But it's always like every song I write is always a big challenge. I'm always seeking that next level that's always beyond my reach to some degree.
I see what you mean. But personally, like since I am a very new writer per se, I've only have like one song out. So being in this like guitar community, I have this feeling that I have to do something different in order to make my music stand out. Do you have that as well, or like are you not caring about being different and just trying to serve the song in a way?
Um, I mean, yes and no. I think it is important to sort of distinguish yourself a little bit. But at the end of the day, I write what I want to write. So whatever happens, happens. I'm not gonna stop a song just because it's got some sort of or it's not its own genre or something. You know what I mean? So to a degree, yeah. But it gets tricky because it's hard enough to write a song as it is without any restrictions. So if you want to create a restriction on yourself that this has to be its own genre or its own new thing, it's pretty tricky to do.
You're right about that, absolutely. And do you think how has your appreciation about music in general changed over the years? Because I'll just say that when people start getting into technical genres, the technique is something that sparks interest, but over time, it's not technique anymore. So like, how in your case like has that changed over the years?
Um, I don't think it's changed. I think it's stayed the same. You know, at the end of the day, the song has to affect me. Like it has to give me some sort of feeling. So that it could be the most technical song in the world, or it could be the most simple song in the world. It doesn't matter. What matters is, does it affect me? Does it make me feel something? You know, if I don't feel anything, then I'll probably not come back to it. You know, so that's the main thing for me. The song has to give me a feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you mean, and I think the song "Up Into the Ether" connected to me in that way when I first heard it. And I would just want to say that because the music video was so personal and you made yourself vulnerable, it connected to so many people. And I would like to also congratulate you on hitting 3 million on that video yesterday.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm just overwhelmed and super like thankful that it did what it did. You know, it really helped, and you know, helped my career in so many ways, and it's just a really exciting thing.
Definitely, definitely. And do you how what's your stance on like vulnerability and songwriting?
Yeah, I think it's important. I think you need it for something to truly, you know, reach beyond. I think it needs to have an element of that. You know, an element of your personality and your, you know, more than just a song for the sake of a song. It's got to have your character in it. It's got to have, you know, your soul in it. It's embedded in it somewhere. You know, um, yeah. I think it's a tough thing because you know you're putting yourself out there publicly in front of everyone. You know, people might not like it, or people might not care, or people might love it. You never know. You never know what's going to happen. But you just got to do it
Yeah, like the I think the somewhere down the line being truthful about how you truly feel gives you its rewards, like maybe not right in that moment, but eventually down the line.
for sure.
And yeah, what you said is absolutely correct, and I stand by it as well. um, and yeah, I mean, speaking of that, can you walk us through the how your like idea of success changed over the years, like when you were just starting out or like when you were just writing songs versus right now?
I think I don't know if that's really changed either. To be honest, like I think my idea of success, I try to keep those ideas things I can control, and not things I can't control. So finishing an album, that's my idea of a success, you know, um, or making a song that you like, or implementing a technique that was you couldn't do in the beginning, you know, and having that goal be achieved in your song or something like that. But I think the outside of that, like being able to live off your music is I think the definition of, you know.
Yeah, yeah, it's really difficult, and props to everyone who's able to do it, because it really is inspiring to see, first of all, and rewarding in for fans, and I would say like because of the fans to the creators as well. And from what you just said, I can really make out that your goals are more process driven than goal driven, and I think that really helps with sustainability. And
Yeah, absolutely. I think the more goals you set that are in your control, the better, and the healthier it is for you. You know, you're gonna you obviously you know you can't ignore like numbers and things. It's always nice to get, you know, 3 million views and stuff like that. You know, but don't let that define your goals. You know, you keep them as internal and as manageable and within your control as possible. I think that's the key.
that's definitely true. And since you took your step to becoming a full-time musician since 2019, is there any moment in particular of affirmation or like, something that's really fond? Maybe it could be some appreciation from someone or some mega show that you played that has really stuck out and made you affirm that yes, I've made the right choice.
Yeah, I think one of the big ones was my I did a sold out show in Melbourne, sort of doing it two sets, one being electric and one being acoustic with strings and things. And that was a really good achievement, I think. And it's a really great night, great feedback, and all the footage and stuff that we got back from that was really, really cool. And it was just, yeah, it was a good moment being on stage, knowing you're playing sold out, your own headline sold out show. It was a decent venue as well, like a really respected venue that we played. I think that was a big one. More recently, there was a gig we played at Radar Festival 2023, and that was a really, like, a huge audience, and it seemed to go really, really well, and we played great. And that was another moment as well. There's little things along the way, like a million views. That's your first million views on a video, or a million streams on a song. That's always pretty memorable. Um, yeah, there's
Yeah, you also got 2 million on EP with Jake, right?
yeah that's yeah, I think, yeah, we have, yeah, on Spotify. That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys also played Fire Inside for the first time in Radar Festival and second time when you guys came to India, and I was lucky enough to witness that
Oh,
myself.
sweet, you were there. That's
So
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I
Yeah.
love getting to do that. We didn't think we'd be getting to do it a second time, so it was really cool to find out that the Monuments guys are playing the same festival. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and I mean the drone shots and the footage from the India show was great as well.
yeah.
I was probably in the front for the most part. I also messaged you back then that if it's possible for us to meet, but then obviously because of the touring logistics and stuff,
Oh,
we weren't able to meet back then. But I'm really glad that I finally got the chance to,
yeah. It's
spend some
super
time
hectic,
talking to
man.
you.
It was crazy busy, so it's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
hard to do. Yeah,
I think the Archeco guys also lost some of their luggage while coming to India because of the airline fuck ups.
yeah,
And it was like one of them, I think Adam had an air tag in one of his guitar bags, and that's how they were able to find all of their gear, or else
yeah.
it would have been a mega loss for them.
Scary.
Yeah. Speaking of that, have you had any, borderline nightmares or like nightmare experiences that, scared the shit out of you just before getting onto the stage or something like that because of something like
Yeah, well, one of the worst ones was in Europe. In the UK, we were driving back to do a festival called Arctangent Festival, and we got held up at the border, in the UK border, crossing in from Europe, and that was very stressful because we knew time was of the essence to get it to make our appearance on time, but we ended up unfortunately missing it. So that was a low point. Yeah,
that's rough. That's rough. And yeah. And speaking of touring logistics, I don't think that a lot of people understand when they ask you to like, hey, come to Brazil, hey, come to India, hey, come here, come there. I mean, obviously, like they're just saying it out of love, and even you know that. But the reality of touring and how much first of all, I'd like to be really, appreciative of you that I see you being a lot transparent even on your Patreon podcasts and even on Instagram in general about like how hard it is actually to tour and stuff. So, for people that who don't truly understand it, let's say you have 10,000 Australian dollars as a touring budget. So, how much of that goes into travel? How much of that goes into the sound engineering, and how much of that is surplus that probably is gonna go into not as an earning but into making your next music thing. So like, can you give a rough estimate of how the bifurcations of money work?
yeah. Well, I mean, it depends on your amount of crew you're taking. Like, I like to take my band and some crew along with, and you got to pay for the flights, and you got to all the accommodation. Like, $10,000 will not get you far. Like, you need, like, I've spent significantly more than that on an Australian tour. Um, like, that's probably about 25% of it, of the expenses. But I mean, look, it all comes down to your expenses. So I could do these things on my own and have very little expenses, and play solo with backing tracks and stuff like that. So I mean, you gotta consider what you want to do, how you want to present yourself, what's worth it to you, because it's basically investing. You're investing in yourself. So I find it worth it in that respect. I'm investing in the future. So I might take some losses early on, but if you keep at it and you keep pushing and building your profile and making the live experience really memorable for people, that they want to come back and they're going to tell their friends about it, and then you get to a point where you you're no longer taking losses, but you're making money, and it's way more viable and stuff. So I mean, ultimately I'm in a privileged position that I can take on these risks and things. But yeah, it's expensive, and I'm only at a point now that I'm starting to make, money back on tours, even after hefty
Yeah.
expenses.
That's great to hear, first of all. And secondly, I think what you said about you could have used backing tracks but you don't is because I think you have talked about this before, that a lot of like your brand image is around live shows and you want to play more live shows and you want to play live music, and investing in that would definitely help you solidify the stance that okay, like yeah, if you want, I'll play live in your country or anything like that. That being said, can you shed some light on how important it is for, let's say, an artist or a brand of an artist to depict what they truly stand for in terms of like music and in terms of the brand image?
Yeah, well, I think it's very important. It's kind of what you're building your image off, how you present yourself. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, because there's musicians out there that don't play live, and they do more of an online presence and stuff, and it's equally as valid. And people don't expect that of them. So so yeah. I mean, I think it's just consistency. I think at the end of the day, it's consistency. So I'm trying to be an artist that performs live in a band setting. And I've stuck to that formula for the most part, and it's now that I'm sort of diversifying a little bit, but that's more out of necessity and opportunity, and my literal ability to take on. I can't tour with the band, 12 months of the year every year, just because of the costs to profit margins. But in time, I think that will be a viable thing for me, for sure. I can see it there. I mean, the writing's on the wall.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, I would love to see a world tour from you. And yeah, I mean, even your crew, like you have Rohan on keys, and like he does, like he nailed the Jake parts and like all the guitar solos that were there on the record, but on keys, and it sounded equally awesome. And I'm just curious that you said that you've been, like playing live for so long, so does it have a direct impact on how you write while you're writing for an album? Because I think a lot of people now write a lot of stuff that's probably not 100% playable in that particular time, but maybe eventually by the time they have to start for a tour, they learn it and they're able to play it live. But I'm curious that while you're writing your album, like, is it something that you know for sure that okay, if I can't play this live, then I'm not gonna put it on the album? Is it something like that?
Um, not particularly. I really just think I want to make the best songs I can, regardless of anything. I feel like you can figure it out. At the end of the day, you'll figure it out. There's always a way. If that means you have to adapt something slightly, then that's what you do. Or you got to work your ass off and make it possible. But at the end of the day, I feel like the songs are primary. I want my songs to be the best I can manage, and then the live show is this sort of secondary to that, you know. So yeah, I mean, I got so much catalog now. I mean, I don't even. I got so much material um, that I'll never be able to play it all live. You know.
That's true. That's true. Remember you had this one video where you went out on the streets and asked people that, what do you think about this I Built the Sky record? And like that's such a sick promo. Like it was funny and it was fun to watch as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember that. That was
Yeah.
heaps of fun. I kind of want to do that again. Actually, it's been a while.
But don't you think that you might run into risk of people actually knowing who you are now?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it's that big
That's
quite
probably a
yet.
chance you'll have to take.
Yeah, I'm willing to take that chance. That's all good.
I see. And also that the Coalescence, I don't really sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but that EP with Jake,
Yeah.
it was such a great EP. Everything from mix to production, and so I would just like to ask, like, how did you guys like? Was it somebody who already had some ideas, and then you like went back and forth, or like
Well, we all just brought to the table like riffs that we had that we thought could work together. So I mean, we both. It really was a 50-50 thing. Like he had certain riffs that he brought to the table, and as did I, and then we just adapted them, and we got on Zoom and Skype calls and tried to flesh out the structure and that sort of thing. They came together quite quickly, really, and yeah, it was actually quite a quick process that it took to get together. But yeah, we just both came in with riffs, and we showed each other like, this is what I got, you know, and we just talk about where we could take this and experimented with things, and yeah, it seemed to really naturally come together.
exciting to hear? Because I think as musicians, our best strengths lie in collaboration, and because you just probably if you are someone who just writes on their own, and then you have someone who has a writing style completely different, and you both come together and make something that's amalgamating of both of those things. It's just something very intrinsically beautiful,
Yeah.
and I don't really think you can even measure it in terms of views and stuff. I mean, it's always special collaborations and making something together. And speaking of that, I have a very specific question regarding Ascendant, the last song.
Yeah.
There's this really beautiful space left out for solo. So like while you guys were writing it, how did you think that, oh, we should get Andre Neiri on this particular solo?
That was Jake's suggestion. I think he could envisage him doing something pretty epic on that for that section. So he suggested we should ask him, and yeah, he's luckily said yes, and that's the first thing he sent us. Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. That's probably one of the most inspiring solos I've heard in the last 3 or 4 years. The man has an unbelievable touch. Like the
Yeah.
way he bends, the way he doesn't even use a pick for half of the solo and still gets all the articulation spot on. And yeah, I mean, like that song really got to a very next level when it came to Andre's solo, and
Yeah.
I'm so glad you guys saved that song for the last. It was really like a fan service in a way to everyone who listened to the last song, and yeah, it was just such a cool thing to witness.
Thank you so much. Yeah, very happy with that. Very happy with how that whole EP turned out. So
Yeah, and also I would like to ask a little bit of a deeper and more question. That's do you have any artist friend that you just talk to and get inspired by? And if yes, then what do you think is the impact and importance of having friends who allow you to be your creative best self?
like, I mean, I have that too, but I get inspired from everywhere. Like even music styles outside of metal or prog, or I'm constantly getting inspired from different sources and different places. And you talk to your friends, you show them things, and they show you things, and all that stuff is really cool too. But yeah, I mean, inspiration and stuff comes from everywhere.
I see what you mean. And do you think surrounding yourself with people who are like objectively better than you at the craft that you are trying to pursue, and have like a healthy mindset, growth mindset thing, really impact your creative process as well?
Yeah, I think it's good. You want to be the worst, you want to be the worst musician in the room. So you want to surround yourself with people that you can learn from. So I mean, even in an online sense too, you should be like following those that inspire you and have you know things you can't do. Because it motivates you. I think I never had that feeling of having someone make me feel like I want to quit. Which I see in the comments everywhere. Like, this person makes me want to quit. Because it's too good or something. I've never had that feeling personally. I've always been inspired, if anything. So yeah, I think it's good to surround yourself with different creators who are doing stuff beyond your sort of level, I guess. And online and in person, in music, and in everything. I think it's a good thing for you to grow. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any of your friends like who you think help you get better and inspire you?
Yeah, of course. Like people like Jake and Steven Taranto, they're always inspiring me with what they do. There's heaps of people. James Norbert Avani does amazing stuff. Sam Vallon from Caligula's Horse is incredible musician and guitar player. There's millions, dude. Like, yeah.
New artists or bands who are, in your opinion, very underrated and people should look out for?
Steven Taranto, um, definitely is underrated. Should be at the top of the guitarists pile. I mean, he's very highly regarded from many of the big names out there already, which is great. But I think just the general consensus, I think he's very, yeah, underrated, I think. So that's first on my list, I'd say, just because his ability is it's uncomparable from what I've seen. Um, but yeah, there's many.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are people like Joe Lol. His full name is Joe Lolera. Him. Then there's Clayton King. I think Clayton King is reaching to like 100K mark, so I wouldn't call him underrated anymore. But yeah, him and like uh, probably Aviations
Oh yeah,
also.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, those guys are doing some crazy stuff and very, very inspiring and fresh sounding stuff. And yeah,
for sure.
that's just from my end.
Oh, there's
Um,
many. I could talk about this for ages, but I don't want to. I
yeah,
don't want to leave
and
out
like
people.
you mentioned, definitely neither do I want to leave out people. And like you mentioned that because of the social media and like people keep commenting stuff like I want to quit, and they inherently do that as a funny comment. But what I think happens is that you are trying to like not form a healthy mindset with yourself that you suck and you should quit. And I don't think that's a really great way to look at stuff, because anyone who wants to like take and make music should take themselves seriously. I see a lot of people um, put out their songs and then they just be like, oh, I think I could have done this better, oh, this doesn't sound good, this sounds shit. But I think if you can't respect your own art, how can you expect other people to do it for you? And I think in that sense, I have so much respect and admiration for you, because you take everything you do like very, very not, I won't call it seriously because that can be interpreted a wrong way, but like very from the heart and like very diligently. um, and I think that really solidified when he put out that acoustic album, because despite the limitations of an acoustic guitar when it comes to like around production. You made such a beautiful album, and that's wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I'm just always just trying to put out the best possible thing I can do at the time with what I have. That's my mentality at the end of the day. It's always that. So I think that's helped me, break through and continue to grow, because I'm always trying to level up and make something better than, I mean, that's the thing. Every time you write a song, it's got to be the best song you've ever written. So that's sort of the goal, at least. Whether that happens or not, who knows. But at least that's sort of the mindset. You're always trying to grow as a creator and just do your best work at all times. And if it if you feel differently about that later, then it's all good. You just move on. By the time you feel that way, you're on to the next thing anyway. So
I think what really holds people back while trying out new things and trying out something that they're not particularly known for is the fact that because of everybody knows them for something, they start to tell themselves that okay, I am someone who makes prog music, I am someone who enjoys that, and I shouldn't venture any further from that. And I think that's a lot restrictive in a lot of way. And I have been lucky enough to surround myself with people who bring everything from EDM to shuffle into prog, and that is just a liberating feeling. And even you with your acoustic EP, it's like such a breath of fresh air, and like um, it's a best example that you don't have to be like. There's a stigma that people in prog are very uptight.
yeah, I don't think so either. I think they're open minded. I think that's the definition of the style. It's super open minded. I hear heaps of different influences in like a prog song or a prog band, these days, and nothing would really take me back take me back really. I think that's the nature of the style. It's progressive and it utilizes so many elements, and there's heaps of bands like leaning into certain elements far different from another band, but it's still considered prog, or metal and prog metal or whatever. But yeah.
I mean, but like, what are some things that you absolutely love about the our style of music, and what are some things that you wish should be like, especially from a mindset point of view, should be changed?
I love the creativity in it, in the prog scene. It's super creative and very interesting and exciting and fresh and new and all that. I think what I would like changed is less emphasis on the gymnastics of it and more emphasis on the songwriting. I think that's where sometimes I lose interest with like hearing some artists and stuff. I lose interest if I can tell that they're trying to fit all their best and most amazing techniques into the song rather than give the song what the song really needs, some sort of form and shape and a story, like a way to tell a story through the song, and give those crazy moments at the right times where it's meaningful, rather than, I sometimes feel like some people are soloing over a backing track and calling it a song. So that's what I would probably want to change. And I mean, at the end of the day, people should do what makes them happy. What's my opinion really matter at the end of the day? But that's the sort of stuff I look for in music, personally. Yeah.
I see. And you said a really interesting thing about identifying what the song really needs. So for someone who's probably less experienced but wanna like up their songwriting game, how do you identify what the song really needs? Like, what are some key aspects that one should look out for while developing a riff into a full song?
Well, I think it should tell a story in a way. It should have a shape and a form. Like there should be, a start, a middle, of like a peak of the song, and then it should maybe wind down in a way that sort of gives you a finished feeling. Um, does it keep your interest? Does it connect with you somewhere? Does something evolve? Um, does the hook return? You know, um, yeah. Is it got a mood to it? And I think really all I sort of look for is when I push play and let the song play through. Do I enjoy that experience? That's it.
But yeah, since you talked about structures, I think what I have particularly seen happen in the last few years is that people have actually realized that not having an 8-minute song with 10 different riffs is a good idea, and probably there should be like shortened or trimmed down to like a 4-minute song with just 2 or 3 main
For
ideas.
sure.
And that's what I've personally seen. I have been seeing in your music, and what I have also personally studied while I was trying to, like internalize that. And why do you think people should focus on a shorter form of song compared to like a longer song, like a Tool song per se? Not no, I mean Tool's one of my favorite bands, but I meant in terms of the length of the song.
Yeah, I think for me, like I get turned off pretty much from the get go if I see song length 10 minutes or more. If someone sends me a song that's 10 minutes or more, that's just too much of a it's too much of a commitment, just right there. That's on it. That turns me off pretty quick. It's just psychologically, I don't know. I can't see myself enjoying 10 minutes or more of a song. That's just the instinctive. That's the first instinct I get, and you can be proven wrong. There's songs I love that are long, like Meshuggah's Eye, for example.
Yeah, Reptile by Periphery.
Right, exactly. So there's heaps of those that prove me wrong, but yeah, in general, um, I like that concise, really honed in structure and form that does what it needs to do. I mean, just imagine, or do you want them to tell the story in a really engaging way over 4 minutes? I would take that option every time, and I think sometimes less is more.
Yeah, that's a really great analogy, and I completely agree with you. And also, given the short and attention span of people, it's really, really hard to keep everyone hooked to even a 4-minute song unless, it has
Totally.
something. Yeah. So I like to go with this mentality called all killer, no filler when it comes to writing. So, like, if there's
Exactly.
something that's, like, something that is a placeholder, it shouldn't be there in the first place. And I think even you've said it in one of your podcasts that nothing is done, like just as a placeholder. Every single note is intentional, and every single note is like how you want it to be. And why do you think that's important?
Yeah, I reckon everyone should do that in their song. They should hit play from the start, listen through. Is that really what I want to do? Or am I just doing it because that riff is fun to play? You know, you should really think in that mindset, because people are they don't know any backstory. They just know what they're given. So um, yeah, it is important because you're curating yourself. You're curating your material and your songs. So you're trying to give yourself the best possible chance of engaging a listener. Because the minute
That's correct.
someone listens to something in your catalog and feels bored or uninspired or uninterested, you're going to be struggling to get them to listen to your next album, or it's
Yeah.
going to be a battle trying to get them back into will give you another shot. So less is more.
Agreed. And speaking of that, I would like to ask as an advice, sort of thing, like somebody who's not too big and wants to, like, increase their audience and wants to make their song reach out to a lot of more people. Um, do you have any like social media, uh, things that people overlook, which are very important? And for example, it could be anything from pitching your song to the editorial playlist on Spotify, to reaching out to reaction channels, and stuff like that that you think is very important, but a lot of people overlook.
I mean, yeah, you everything you do is presenting and representing yourself, So I would just consider, like, is this decent content that I should put out? Does this give something to the audience? Is there something here that is of value? Whatever it is. Is this presenting myself in the best way I can be presented? If you're posting your takeaway meal, no relevance to anything to do with your music, why? So just question everything you put out. Is this worth putting out? Is this good quality, meaningful, relevant? you know is this It's got to check those boxes.
Totally. I also agree with that because I've seen a lot of people who took off by promoting funny content, but that never really translated well when it came to, directing the audience to their actual music. And I think
Yeah,
that's where what you said comes into play, that you have to be very mindful of what you put out and what you want your audience to know you from.
100%. Exactly. You can easily fall into that trap and be the comedian, but then you're getting known for the wrong thing. You don't want to be, unless you do want to be the comedian, then go for it. But if you're trying to be an artist, why are you being a comedian? Obviously I love doing funny stuff along the way and things, but it's sort of done as a very much a little side thing to the main mission, I guess. But yeah, what do you want people to see you as? Do that. Otherwise, you're going to build up yourself. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. People get sucked in and they, post funny memes every day, and they build up thousands and thousands of followers. But that's not really, when they look back at it, they've wasted a lot of their time, and no one's tuning into them because of the quality of their music. They're tuning into because it's funny memes and stuff. So you want to be careful about that.
Yeah, and also that probably having a large following um, might not result into a dedicated audience. Whereas what like I think you have talked about this before, that having like a lot more people coming tuning in every single time you post out something would be way more important than having 100,000 followers but only a short percentage of them returning back. Like, so that then there's no point in that. It's just for brands to like show you that, okay, you have 100K followers and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't know if these 100,000 follower Instagram pages are legit. Anyone can get $100,000, 100,000 followers. Sorry, just because you can buy them. You know what I mean? So yeah, I would be, and today's social media is just not about followers anymore. It's about engagement and quality of audience. That's not necessarily followers. People love bands. They don't follow them on social media. Like, they don't need to be updated or see their selfies or whatever it is. But they love their music, and they might be subscribed to their email list or something. Rather than social media to get the most important updates and stuff like that. And yeah, I've heard recently that follow accounts are just less and less relevant as time goes on, and platforms aren't sending content to followers. They're sending it. It's not to do with. It doesn't work that way these days. It did back in the day, where you'd have subscribers on YouTube and your post would go to those subscribers. But it's not the way it really goes anymore. TikTok's the same, Instagram's the same. It's all discoverable content more than followers seeing content from their followed pages.
Yeah, you're absolutely
But
right about that. And also the algorithm, the recommendation algorithm, is more based towards what a particular group of people collectively like, and that's being pushed more rather than somebody you might follow that you want to see, but you won't see them on your page. You're absolutely correct about that. And also about the followers thing being less relevant these days. I know a lot of great artists like who are not even that famous, but are have a really great relationships with brands and are very engaging in the community. And that's where what you just said before, like what you want to know for and what you want to do, comes into play as well, because you're you're building your own brand in a way, even though it's not as big as the 100K follower guys, but it's really something that represents you in a way. And yeah, also the amount of mindless scrolling and um, like stuff that you probably don't want to see. Even when it comes to guitar, I see a lot of people getting famous for playing shit guitar. That's a thing now. Like people are play guitar wrongly or like just mime, and like they're getting famous. And but the people who are actually putting out quality content might not get the reach that they deserve. That's just because of that. The people see that funny stuff they like, they share to their friends, and that gets pushed more other than what
mhm.
the content that should be pushed, basically. And so, like, speaking of that, are there any like social media monitoring or like moderation things that you particularly do? So, for example, what I do is if I don't like something, I just press not interested, or like I unfollow accounts that I genuinely don't want to see on my feed, or mute certain things. Like just
Of
because
course.
I think, yeah. So, what are some things that you do like that?
Yeah, exactly. If I'm getting shown stuff that I don't want to be shown, then yeah, you just do those things. Just click not interested or whatever. Um, yeah, yeah.
And what when it comes to like people that you want to follow, or like people you think are cool, I think what I've seen is that a lot of people will see other people that are cool and like are doing legit stuff, but they won't follow them just because there's like abundance of great guitar players these days. So like what makes you want to follow someone?
Hmm. Um, just it's just as simple as like enjoying what they've done, and it contributes to something you enjoy. So you want to see more of that. It's that simple. I mean, as a creator though, you can you can get into all these tactics and yada yada, you know, so far. But at the end of the day, just do your best work. That's all you can really do, and focus less on the outcomes, but focus mostly on the what you're putting out there. Do the best you can and work with that. I think that's the only way to go.
I see what you mean. And yeah, I guess that's I had a list of questions that I wanted to ask you, and I am like very pleased to get those answers, because I've been following your music journey for a very long time. And I would like to say that when I turned 18 and I got my debit card, the first purchase I made with that was to your Patreon. It wasn't
Amazing.
much. Yeah, it was like probably the first or second year, I don't remember it correctly. And it was probably 1 year from that I was gonna play my first live show in front of like 400, 500 people, and I've never played live
Wow.
before. So I asked you on Instagram that do you have any tips, and you just said have as much as fun as you can, and that's what I did.
Great. That's amazing.
And
How'd it go?
oh, it went amazing. And ever since that time, my next goal was to be able to play my live music, which I haven't really got the opportunity to do, but I have built up myself to that, and finally I have material to play also. And
Awesome.
I saw you on the N7 Weekender as well, and I wanted to meet you. I couldn't meet you, but I'm really, really thankful for you to spare some time to talk to me about. And I know for a fact that you don't do this kind of stuff a lot, so I really, really appreciate you for doing that. First of all, and secondly, I know for a fact that you wouldn't be here if you didn't have something
I'm cooking up some cool stuff, and I'm really excited about it. So if you like guitar-based progressive music with a twist of many other elements, consider checking out what I do. Spotify, Instagram, all that stuff, YouTube. Yeah, I'm in a creative stage at the moment, so it's mostly working on that stuff. But I do have some things coming out soon. I got a really cool collab coming out, which is pretty exciting.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
nice. That's
that
nice.
should be out by
And
the end of the month.
oh,
Um,
let's go.
yeah, so that's really exciting. And working towards that, just sort of getting the video stuff done for that. But the song's done; it's all mixed, mastered, ready to go. So that's
Hell
probably the
yeah.
first thing you're going to hear. And then my new album should be out by the end of the year or so. Yeah, and I'm
That's so
planning.
so excited. I'm so
I'm doing it.
excited.
If you live in Australia, I'm doing a tour with Haken in the end of this month, April into May. So that's exciting. Probably more shows to go, but mostly focusing on writing new material.
I'm so happy when I saw the message, like the post that you were gonna like tour with Hakan. I mean, that's really huge, and I'm so glad that you are getting an opportunity uh, like that. And I'm really really pleased to see your journey and like what you have been cooking per se.
Hey, thank you,
So
man. Thanks for the support. It means a lot that you do follow along and on Patreon too. So that's amazing, and just hope you really enjoy what's to come.
yeah, man, always, always, always. Thank you so much for chatting, and I'll look forward to your next release.
Awesome, mate. Thank you.